I've got some questions for you. First question is in regard to a news report. Now, a little bit of backstory. Some robbers went into I don't know, a convenience store or a bank here in Australia, and dressed up in burqa, and robbed the place. And so a politician, I can't remember who his name is, I probably don't care anyway if this is his idea, decided that it would be a good idea to ban burqas in Australia. And they're thinking about doing it in places in Europe, like France and stuff, where I think it's like the highest non-Muslim country with burqa wearing people, but only about like something like 5% of the Muslim population in Australia actually choose to wear burqa. So what is your thoughts on this? Personally, my thoughts are that they shouldn't ban the burqa because, okay, I'm not religious. I'm an atheist, but I've got no problem with other people practicing their own religions as long as they don't try and convert me, right? And don't try and tell me that I'm going to hell because I don't believe what they believe, or that I should be, executed or stoned or something like that. As long as people don't say that to me, they can wear whatever they like, burqa, banana skirt, I don't care. But what are your thoughts? Should the burqa be banned because of the idea that someone could rob your house or your store wearing a burqa? I mean, this is also another thing that I want to say about this whole ban. Back in the old days, they used to wear stockings over their heads to rob banks because it squished up their nose like this and all this stuff. So why aren't they banning stockings from wearing stockings? I'm wearing a pair of stockings right now. What are you going to do about it, Mr. Government Man? Okay, my last question is going to be a bit long. It is in regard to Australia's internet censorship legislation. Now, I've heard two sides of the story. To be perfectly honest, one of those sides, in my opinion, is not very logical in to my brain, to the way I think, and that would be the side of those who are against the legislation completely and are petitioning to get rid of it. Now, the government has said the reason why they're bringing in the legislation is so they can stop kiddie porn. So your children cannot view it, pedophiles cannot access it, they cannot upload it, things like that. Basically, but they can only block the ones that are inside Australia. They can't block the ones outside. So if it's a non-Australian server that it's being held on, it can't be blocked. So you kind of wonder, well, what's the point? Okay, well, the point is that, a little bit in Australia, maybe other countries might turn around and says, you know what, we're gonna ban kiddie porn as well, and then eventually the entire world has banned kiddie porn. And unless you're a pedophile, you have no business to want that stuff on the internet, I don't think. And if you want that stuff on the internet, I think you kind of want to see it, So yeah, maybe. Now the argument against this censorship is that what it will do is it will slow down the internet here in Australia, which isn't that fast, but 1500 kb is actually pretty decent for what we do. You can watch YouTube, you can upload videos, you can do everything you need to. 1500 kb. If you want anything faster than that, why? And besides that, we're getting this huge, massive, high-speed broadband network set up over the next 8 years. It's going to cost something like $80 billion or $80 million or something ridiculous like that, paid for by the taxpayer, of course, run by Telstra. So it's going to be a monopoly, and if you want the fast internet, you've got no choice but to use this particular service. Personally, if I can avoid using that particular service, I will. And another reason was that if they can ban kiddie porn sites, then they can ban other sites like Facebook and YouTube and blogs, and they can monitor everything. And so, the government will be able to track your opinions and come and get you if they don't like what you're saying. Well, this is the thing with Australia. We're a very high voting nation. We're not the highest voting nation or anything like that, but we're very passionate about when we do vote, we're very passionate about what we vote for, and we vote with our hearts and our heads as well. More so with our hearts, I think. And so, if the government started becoming a dictatorship through the internet, when the Australian people will vote them out, and every government after that will know that they will be voted out if they try the same, bullshit, basically. So I don't see the problem there. But I'm not completely against the idea, like the side of those who are against this legislation. I understand where they're coming from, and well, at least I understand the fears. But my main problem with it is that they're not coming up with an alternative. Basically, I have a friend of mine who's very, very intelligent, and she is right now around the country collecting petition signatures to take to Parliament to quash the legislation. And she has a lot of followers who I would consider her fans, not her followers and friends, that will basically, if she said turtles should be shot because they're the government's lapdogs, they would say, yeah, the turtles, yeah. And she's actually accused me of being a sheep because I disagreed with her on the swine flu thing. And saying, oh, you just believe everything that you read. Well, whatever. I don't care. She's still a very smart girl and extremely intelligent woman, I should say. So, I won't knock her on her intelligence, but she hasn't come up with any alternatives. And this is my problem with all of the conspiracy truthers and anti-internet censorship legislators out there. What is the alternative? Do we want a free internet where anybody can do absolutely anything whenever they like, or do we want to protect our children from being the victims or the viewers of kiddie porn? If we want both, so far the people who are against the legislation have not come up with an alternative to allow us to have both. The government has said over and over and over and over again, we're not trying to block people from using social networking sites. We're not trying to slow people's internet down. We're not trying to track them. We're not trying to profile them. We're not trying to keep eye on them and to see exactly what they're doing. They're just identifying sites that are considered dangerous as far as sexual abuse sites, and trying to block them so that people here in Australia cannot see them. So how do you do that? How are we supposed to stop our kids from seeing these sites if they're still there? It's very likely that a child can go to those sites and view them. And even now we've got our own internet filters on our own computer systems that we can set up with child protection and that sort of thing. And these sites still manage to get through even those. So I mean, this system isn't going to be 100%. It's not going to block everything. It's only going to block Australian sites that they can identify on servers they can control. They can't block the porn sites on international servers because they don't have the authority to do so. But if one country says, okay, that's enough, no more kiddie porn, then another country will turn around and say, you know what, you guys are right, no more kiddie porn, and they do the same thing. Eventually, this sick, twisted, disgusting crap that that is just disgusts me so much is finally nowhere in society. There's going to still be pedophiles, yes. And they're probably going to find new and creative ways to spread their kiddie porn around. But as long as my nieces and nephews can't get a hold of it, I'm happy. As long as my nieces and nephews are not at risk of actually being part of it, I'm happy. But what are your opinions on that? Do you agree with my idea that an alternative needs to be thought up between both parties, the government and the people against the legislation, or do you think we should just say, no, that's it, legislation must go through, or do you think no legislation should go through? If you do have an idea of what an alternative would be, let us know in a video response or a text, because that would be awesome. I'd love to hear it. And even if you don't have an alternative, just give us your reasons why you're either for or against the legislation. Okay, that's it for me. I look like crap, but I've been sick since February with a chronic nasal problem, and hopefully in the next month it will be fixed and I'll be back to normal and blogging more regularly and be able to breathe through my nose. Okay, peace to you.